Well, congratulations on the Muddy.
Thank you, sir.
Does it ever get old?
Well, actually, it's interesting because this was my second for bass. The first one I don't think counts because it was the year, delay passed, and I considered that more of a sympathy vote. Everything else has been really centered around recordings, bands, performances, and so in that regard, those more validated where I come from. If you're a good bass player, then ultimately you're likely not going to get noticed.
Why is that?
It's because you're trying to mediate and not state.
Well, let's get to this Honeyboy Edwards benefit. Why is Honeyboy important to us?
Well, personally, it's that he has cut across, so many generations in one fell swoop, and it's the time he was born. It's all the history in the intervening period that he represents, a wealth of experience and experiences, a legacy. Interestingly enough, you talk about the Muddy. The one thing that I learned for myself, a real epiphany, was that there was a connection that I had with guys that are a full 40 years younger than me. Well, Honeyboy, guys like him, represent something even deeper. And in that respect, to be able to touch history, and a story, and something that transcends any particular mark of time, of fad, of fashion. It's universal. Like he said in his book, the world don't owe me nothing, and he still did it.
He didn't play too much. He didn't come through here that many times, did he?
No. I only caught him once. I know that he tended to do stuff up north, up there in Port Townsend.
Where did you see him?
Actually, I saw him up at up in Port Townsend myself. Yeah.
What was that like?
It's cool. It's a.
No, I mean him.
Oh, him?
Him, yeah.
Man, how do you describe that? It's like. You got to understand. For me, there's always this 13-year-old kid lurking in the weeds, and so on the one hand, I'm more excited by the idea, or I should say maybe even the ideal, than the man. This is like, for me, he was humble, he was accessible, he was kind and considerate, and incredibly humble.
And he played with Robert Johnson.
He played with Robert Johnson, man. The guy, it's like, you stop and consider, cats like him and Johnny Shines, and and you say, okay, look, there's a lot of history right there. There's a whole hell of a lot of history, but it's really, in my mind, the fact that there's still an incredible amount of life in the man. How would I put it? It's like, you see somebody like that, there's a certain seminal element. I feel the mission. To me, it's really about the legacy of what the mantle that you're taking up, and you ultimately are hoping to pass on. And to hear the music is one thing, but really, it's about seeing the life literally come to the man when that instrument is played. I've seen that enough times,
Yeah.
but relatively few times.
Right.
First time I saw it was Son House. Hardly, he could hardly move. Put a guitar in his hands, bam, come to life. Honeyboy was the same.
Right. I
Same
saw
thing.
Big Joe Turner not too long before he died, and he would sit on stage on a stool, and he would just sit there like a big lump until it was time for him to sing. When it was time for him to sing, it's like he everything, the whole world expanded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see that it's, we'll joke about it. You play music. It's as Jim Meesey will say, it gives you an excuse to stay in high school. But I think that's really the long and the short of it for me. Cats like Honeyboy. It's literally a life force that takes over as soon as they play. You can't fake that shit.
And he still had good gigs booked.
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, yeah.
In his 90s, he had gigs booked.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, okay. And what else was he supposed to do?
Well, sure. Very true.
I mean, it's like at least, one, thank God you didn't have all of this, this hot, young, rock and roll kind of element permeating everything. Man played a music that allows one to grow gracefully and maintain dignity.